I promise everybody, he's going to tell you his heaven story. Skeptics and believers alike, you're going to want to hear this. It's absolutely stunning.
It's Channel Mom with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
His name is Mickey Robinson. He is a skydiver. He continued to skydive. He's written a book called Falling into Heaven. He was in a horrific plane crash. Everybody thought he was going to die. He barely got out alive. He was burned over much of his body. Somebody had a superhuman rescue of him out of the plane. I love this account. He had a vision, and it's stunning, and I want him to tell us about how it happened.
When I was at the point when the doctor said the day I was going to see, I developed massive complications. They tried all the heroics to try and prevent them, but massive infection, 10 pints of blood a day, blind in my right eye, paralysis, almost 50% of my body weight, and I was a professional athlete, was gone. Infection inside and outside. There was 7 fatal complications. At that point, when there was no help, I left my physical body and entered a different spiritual dimension, which was very shocking. And the awareness of eternity it blows you away because you can't understand it here. Mm-hmm. Everything here is connected to time, but everything in the spirit realm is connected to eternity. And I was about to be swallowed by this blackness that I won't go into detail about it because you've already gone into the heaven part of it. But as I cried out to God, a God that I never served, a God that I heard all about but didn't know anything about, from the ambulance into the emergency room, several times on the operating table, and different times in the middle of the night, I said, God, I'm sorry, give me another chance. I was about to be swallowed, and then I was thrust through this portal and came and stood in the presence of Almighty God. I knew instantly I would never die forever, ever, and ever again. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's hard to put it into words. Simultaneous, there's things that happen all at the same time, that this perfect, pure love of God was penetrating me, and that nothing could ever be wrong, that this God's love was so powerful. And it's hard for us because we think in finite terms. No matter how spiritual we are, we think in finite terms. And people say, well, how? And then the river of life was going right through me, this golden river that you described, and somewhere between my hips and my knees. And my hands were in the air, and just the ecstatic joy is unbelievable. And I didn't see, like any angels at that time, New Jerusalem, or Peter at the pearly gate checking IDs, you're in and you're out of here, none of that stuff. And I knew the presence of God was somewhere off to my left, but I didn't see the person of God at that time. But His presence, this is the center of everything, this majestic light and this power and this love and this authority. And yet, how could I stand in that and not bend? Because somehow my feeble little prayer, crying out to God, I'm sorry, give me another chance, over and over I said that. Then when I was in the spirit dimension about to be swallowed, I said, God, please, I want to live, give me another chance. And I was thrust through and appeared in this glory in heaven. Yeah. And it's just hard to put it in human terms. I do my best when I write it. And the thing is that eternal life doesn't start when you die. This is eternal life, Jesus said, knowing the Father and Him whom He sent. We experience kingdom, our eternal. That's why I refuse to have a midlife crisis, because if I start having eternal life, there will be no middle, right?
Right.
So my little help for my friends out there in Radio Land. But I mean, and I knew nothing about this stuff. I mean, I'd never heard anything like this. I never met one person that could describe having a personal relationship or answered prayer. Never heard of this stuff. And this isn't about the church I was raised in, trying to be negative about it. I was living in the present world. That was it. And I was living for the moment, literally moment to moment. But you are a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body. And there's only two possibilities. There is an afterlife, or there's oblivion, an endless state of nothingness, of which if people think that, it eventually leads to there is no God, because that's futility. So if all there is this, Paul says we might as well party. We're of all people. If there is no resurrection, we must be, of all people, be the most pitied. But the fact is, there is an afterlife. And where you are is determined today where you shall be.